Yeah. As soon as I fucking start, this goddamn fucking train goes by. Yep, this is good. What a fucking dickhead. What a fucker. Unbelievable. Such fucking horse shit.
Help human life, learn, laugh, and thrive. You're gonna laugh so hard it's gonna make you cry. The knowledge we provide will help you learn and thrive. So stay tuned now for a new episode as we turn off the beats and we start the show.
Here we go.
What's going on, everybody? My name is Tyler from Health Humor Life, and today I wanted to talk about the importance of documenting your progress, goal setting on paper, keeping a diary, journal, something on paper to help you stick to your goals and achieve them. And today I kind of wanted to talk about like the benefits of keeping a journal and kind of dive into my story and how I was able to reach my goals, and documenting that progress helped me significantly. So when I started my journey 4 years ago, it wasn't even a journal. It was like a 3x3 inch fucking post-it note that I had. And what I would do is I would write down what I did that day and write down like the record for the day. And the next day I would try to break that record. At one point, I just started like any other overweight person trying to lose weight. I didn't really know what I was doing, so I started to just jog. I jogged a half mile, and I did 10 push-ups. And then I jogged a full mile, and I did 20 push-ups. Well, toward the end of my journey, that 1 mile turned into 4.5 miles a day that I was doing. Those 20 push-ups turned into like 312 push-ups, I think was the most I did in a session. From where I began 4 years ago to where I ended up losing 90 pounds, and keeping track of all that helped me a ton. So today I want to talk about the benefits of keeping a journal, why you should keep a journal, because a lot of people think, it's dumb, dude, I'm not going to keep a journal, it's stupid. Why would I do that, man? I could just remember it. Well, I was actually reading a psychology article that when you tell people about what you're doing and the goal you want to reach, the brain mistakes that into actually doing what you said you were going to do. So you kind of lose motivation unless that person's going to keep you accountable. I'll actually post the article because it was actually an interesting read. But that's a whole new topic in and of itself. So benefits of keeping a journal. Keeping a journal requires you to write out your goals. And writing out your goals provides you the opportunity to articulate them clearly and accurately. When I say write out your goals, I'm not talking about I want to lose weight. Yeah, that's great. You want to lose weight, but like I want to know how much you want to lose, what you want to look like. I remember reading a book about fat loss, and it was a guy that was writing the book. I can't remember the name. I'll have to link that once I remember. But it was a guy, and he said, link what you want to look like to your goal. He's like, if you want to look like a jacked lifeguard model dude, put a picture on your wall of the jacked model dude. That way, every morning you wake up, you see a half-naked dude. Yeah, I can see how that's kind of odd to some people, but, you're not putting it on your wall because you're gay. You're putting it on your wall because that's what you want your future self to look like, and there's nothing wrong with that. But when you write your goals down, be as accurate as you possibly can. I'm talking, I want to weigh 185. That was my goal 4 years ago, and I made it to 190. I looked really good at 190, but I think that 185 is the magic number, and that's what I'm still going for today. Another thing, don't just write it down and forget it. I'm guilty of that shit. Writing your goals down and then just forgetting them. Oh, I did that shit. New Year's resolutions. Yeah, I'm gonna think I'm gonna lose weight this year. I think I'm gonna People do, I'm going to quit smoking. Yeah, that's my New Year's resolution. I'm going to quit doing this. I'm going to quit doing that. I'm going to quit fast food. I'm going to quit soda. I hear it every day about these people's New Year's resolutions and what they're going to do tomorrow. The thing is you need to put that with the half-naked dude on your wall. You know what I mean? Because if you're not going to read your goals daily, you're going to forget about them. It's not like it's going to process in your head that you're going to remember and it's just going to be in the back of your head at all times. That's why you keep a journal, because you force yourself to write every day. And it's a reminder of what you've done, what you're going to do. There are 3 things that I preach to people to write in their everyday journal entry. The first one is how you felt that day. We all have ups and downs. We all have shit days. We all have fucking awesome days. Like, this is how we are as human beings. Write how you felt down, because overcoming your obstacles that day or whatever you're dealing with that day, it'll help you in the future. You'll understand what you came across. You'll understand what made your day shitty. You'll be able to see how you got over that, because life goes on. We all know that. Tomorrow's a new day. We all know that. So it's like when you read, oh yeah, dude, yesterday I did feel like shit, and that's why I felt like shit. But you know what? Tomorrow is a new day, and I have a new set of achievements that I want to accomplish, so I'm going to put my focus there. It's going to help you get out of that little rut. The second thing is what you did that day to get you closer to your goal. Super important. On this little fucking Post-it note I had, my mile run, and I did a deck of cards push-ups where you just flip over the card and do a push-up. I would actually write down the card I drew. So if I drew a king, I'd write down king. If I drew a jack, I'd write down jack. And all I did was 10 was 10, jack was 11, queen was 12, king was 13. And I would write down every card that I pulled so it could get me closer to my end goal, which was to do the whole deck. What I would write is I would write ran a mile, and then right below that did push-ups, and I would write king, jack, 8, 2, ace, 3, 4, and I'd add it all up, and that would be my push-ups for the day. Let's just say 27 it was. So 27 would be my push-ups for the day. I would add in, if I did sit-ups, I would add in sit-ups. I did 12 sit-ups, 20 sit-ups, whatever it was for sit-ups. And I would keep this all on this Post-it note, and I would keep that on my bureau. So when I woke up and I went to work, I had to go to my bureau to get my clothes. I saw the Post-it note, and that got me in my mindset to tackle what I was going to do today. I wanted to break all of those records. I wanted to run further. I wanted to do more push-ups. I wanted to do more sit-ups. It ends up, you stop focusing on losing weight and you start focusing on breaking your records for that day. And you'll just lose weight as you break your records. The third thing that I have people do is, what are you going to do tomorrow that's going to make a bigger impact on getting closer to your goal? And I kind of just answered that by telling you question 2. If you write that down, it's going to keep your mind focused on the end prize. And that's the biggest thing. A lot of people give up on their goals, or they eat shit food for a day, or they miss a week of exercise and they just feel like, I fucked up. I can't continue. I can't get back on the horse. And I'm telling you, you got to get back on the horse. You got to do it. I got off the horse myself, and I'm starting the journey again. I started, end of July I started. And it's just right back to it. I'm doing the same stuff. I'm getting the same results. And I'm going to get to my goal weight. I'll actually be posting a journal entry of mine so you guys can see what I go through on a daily basis. That way it gives you, we're all human. You know what I mean? I would like to get some journal entries from you guys so I can see what you guys are going through and make it like a personal experience, because the end result is my journal entries will inspire other people. Like I said, we're human beings. We all go through the same shit. And you know what? Reading someone that's going through a hard time but still tries to find the time to exercise to achieve that goal, whether it be weight loss, whether it be muscle gain, whether it be pursuing a dream, pursuing a career, whatever it is. Like, you still see that the struggle is fucking real, and you see it, and that's important. Keeping a journal also, it helps us keep that end goal in the back of our minds. When you review it daily, you get to the point where you're writing. It makes you think, why did I make this choice? What was it, negative, or did it have a negative or positive impact on my body? What would I do if I encountered this situation again? People are going to have bad days. I've had bad days. I've journaled about bad days. No, I fucked up today. I ate some shit food, and I tried to exercise. I only made it a half mile, and I didn't really feel too good. So I turned around, and when I got back, I really couldn't do any push-ups, and that doesn't mean anything. It just means you had a bad day. You know what I mean? Tomorrow's a new day. But journal about that. Journal how you felt. Journal about what you did, and then journal about what you're gonna do tomorrow to do better than what you did today. Tomorrow I'm not gonna eat the shit food. I know what I want to eat tomorrow. Tomorrow I'm going to have a turkey wrap. I'm going to wrap it in lettuce, put some awesome condiments on it. It's going to be delicious. I'll have almonds for a snack, some water. Outline what you're going to eat. Outline what you're going to do. I only ran a half mile yesterday. I felt kind of terrible because I know I'm better than that. So I'm going to run a mile and a half today. I'm going to make up for that half mile that I missed if your goal was a mile. And then tomorrow when you get back, review your journal. Review your journal before you go work out. I used to do that all the time. When I came back, I looked at my little post-it note, and I was like, man, I have to fucking run today. I have to do it. I want to break that record. That was my thing. I see that post-it note, or just, I didn't even see what I wrote on it at that point. I just saw the note sitting on the bureau, and I know that I needed, I knew that I needed to fucking run. I knew that I needed to work out. I knew I had to hit that fucking goal because I'd be disappointed in myself. The journal helps you keep accountability on yourself. A lot of different ways to be accountable when it comes down to it. There's nothing worse than letting yourself down. And, throughout your journey toward your accomplishments or your goals, you're going to do that. You know what I mean? There's going to be times where you don't give it 100% or, you fall short, but that doesn't mean you have to quit, The last thing I want to mention here on this quick little bonus podcast, the Solo Tyler P podcast, is how your journal is like a permanent record of you. That's the best part about the journal. Reaching that goal, whether it be a year from now, whether it be 6 months from now, whether it be 2 years from now, however long it takes, reaching that goal and opening that journal back up and seeing all the hard work and effort you put into it is so ridiculously satisfying, and you're gonna be so proud of yourself, and you can use that book as inspiration to other people. That's my goal. I'm gonna post my journal entries right on healthhumorlife.com, and you guys can see what I'm writing about, what I'm doing every day to reach that goal. I make sure I document everything on a daily basis, and I make sure that I weigh myself weekly. A lot of people have different theories on this, whether it be monthly, weekly, daily. I mean, I wouldn't do daily just because of how much our weight fluctuates, so I choose weekly, and I've been keeping a good track. Got a little graph going. And yeah, I'll wrap this up. I just wanted to talk about journaling and how important it is to kind of keep track of your progress, to keep track of how you feel, to keep track of what you did today and what you're going to do tomorrow better. With that being said, I'm Tyler. Thanks for listening.
Welcome to the podcast, Health, Humor, Life fans. It's Matt here. Today we're going to talk about goal setting. Tyler and I both have our separate takes on it, and we were had too much shit going on to actually get together and record, so we recorded separately, and you're going to hear both of our takes today. So basically, we had a Christmas party last night, and we're not ones to really drink very often at this point, and, I kind of feel like shit right now. So right now, my goal all day today has been to feel better. My stomach to feel better. I've not yet achieved that goal. So maybe I should have set some smart goals. Maybe I should have fucking set some short-term goals, like, get the stomach feeling good, get the headache feeling good. The headache's gone, stomach's killing me. Tyler, not in very good shape either. He's off, doing something else at the moment. Recorded his pod already. So anyway, we'll talk about some goals. We had a good time at the Christmas party last night. Can't complain. Saw some friends we hadn't seen in a while. Had them all over the new house. So yeah, we had a good time. My dog got fixed. He's been wearing a cone, bumping into shit. It's hilarious, but I feel bad at the same time. He's got like an itch on his nutsack that he's been trying to scratch, and that he just can't, because he's gonna rip open his stitches on his nutsack. It's gonna bleed fucking everywhere, so I gotta leave that cone on him for another 6 days. He doesn't seem to be in too much pain, which is good. You guys heard about the breakup last week on the podcast. If you haven't, I suggest going back to listen to it. One of our better ones. Tyler and I are both very honest about our past breakups, that kind of stuff, like kind of what we were thinking at the time. I mean, to give you guys an update on that, so far I've been able to work it out with my girlfriend after long talks that I can't even get into it right now because it's just too much. So, I'll keep you updated as we go along. It was definitely an emotional week. I'm glad to be feeling mostly back to normal, besides feeling like shit from last night. So getting into the body of the podcast, I'm going to try to make this short and sweet and simple to make it easier for you guys to have something to go home with. So, first of all, when you're setting a goal, you got to be in the right mindset. You got to be ready to tackle and accomplish whatever it is that you're ready to accomplish. You can't just say it and just not follow up with shit. So number one, the important thing is taking action. And it's not taking action after everything's planned out, you feel perfect about it, you're fucking ready, because you know what, that's never going to fucking happen. You got to just delve into whatever it is you want to do when you're not ready. You just got to start taking immediate, imperfect action. It's probably some of the best advice I've ever gotten that I'm now passing it along. So for instance, a lot of people like to just plan and plan, make sure they get all their supplies, or make sure they get everything planned out, like to the T, before they even lift a finger to start, and I'm guilty of that in the past too. You can't do that. You just got to fucking step one, start. Plan as you go, learn as you go. I'm trying to think of an example for that one. Like, there's a website I was doing a while back, and I just wanted to get every detail going. Like, I built the entire site. I even ordered, like, t-shirts and shit. We hadn't even fucking got going. I started paying for, like, services before I even started promoting or whatever, and it's just, you learn as you go. Just start doing things that are going to help you succeed. So, I've learned for this time around with this podcast, then the Health Humor Life website, and it's going to be different this time. Speaking of the Health Humor Life website, sorry to get off topic, but there's a free ebook on that site. It's on weight loss and such. We actually are probably going to add one on goal setting pretty soon here. So there's a book on nutrition as well. So even if you're just trying to be healthy, you get that for free. All you got to do is put your email in, and you can stay updated on new episodes and stuff like that. We're basically just trying to build our email list and build our communication list and be able to help as many people as we can. And also, if you think of it, and you enjoyed today's podcast or last week's podcast or whatever, go and give us a rating on iTunes. We greatly appreciate it. Back to the goals. You want to take immediate, imperfect action before you even start planning. Like, figure out step one, do step one. Plan as you go. And another good thing is to set some SMART goals. SMART goals, you've probably heard these a lot. Or at least I feel like I've heard them a lot from all kinds of different people. So SMART goals doesn't mean that, you just don't make stupid goals. SMART goals is an acronym. It stands for specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-oriented. There's a bunch of other versions out there, but that's one. So basically, when you're making a goal, you want it to be specific. What is to be done? How will you know it is done? So basically, you want to be very specific on what your goal is, and you want to be able to write the description in a way that anyone reading the objective would interpret it the same way. So make it clear, specific, and not just, for instance, don't say, I just want to lose weight. You want to say, I want to lose this much pounds or whatever. That brings me to measurable. You want to make it measurable. So you want to lose, instead of saying I want to lose weight, you want to lose 15 pounds by August 2nd, 2017. You can measure that 15 pounds on a scale. So that's an example of that. You can measure your progress. So if it's something other than weight loss, you just got to find a way to be able to measure your progress. Like, I want to get this thing done on my website by, January 1st. Therefore, by January 1st comes around, you'll know if you did that thing or not. You can check it off your list. Achievable is the next one. So basically, is this realistic? A lot of times the R in SMART goals stands for realistic, but achievable kind of goes with this right now. Is this goal achievable? So you're not going to lose 80 pounds in, 2 months, unless you're Tyler, who's doing jiu-jitsu all day and just obsessed with exercise. He lost like 80 pounds in 3 months. We talk about that on podcast number 1. But anyway, you just got to make it realistic, achievable. If I said, I want to get Health Human Life to 3 million followers by tomorrow, holy shit, is that an undertaking? That's just not going to happen. So make it realistic. My first goal is get fucking 20,000 followers. You know what I mean? And to do that by February 2017. Pretty realistic. Just got to promote it and stuff. And if you guys enjoy any of the content on this, please help us out, promote it. We appreciate it. Another one of my personal goals that I'm doing is I want to start another podcast. Typically these are kind of longer type shows. We'll go like an hour or so. We may cut it short depending on the feedback we get. Which, by the way, not to get off topic again, but you can send us send us feedback at healthhumorlife@gmail.com anytime. We appreciate it. If you have any questions, you can send them to us. We're gonna do a Q&A episode coming up here, so we're looking for more questions. We've had a few already. So I'm starting a new podcast, which is already ready to go, copyrighted and stuff. It's just a matter of finding time and the crazy ass schedule to get it going, which will be within the next month or so. So I'd like to get the first episode out probably by mid-January is my goal. So January 15th. It's going to be called Fit Nutric Commit. It's going to be a shorter health-related podcast, which basically just, instead of having a long conversation, it's just me talking about like just one specific thing, kind of like today with these goals. But honestly, it's probably going to be even shorter than the one I'm doing today. One in the acronym of SMART goals is relevant. Relevant answers the question, should it be done? Why and what will be the impact? Is the object aligned with your long-term goal? Like, does it make sense kind of thing? Time-oriented, which I've kind of mentioned already, is you got to have a deadline. When will it be done? You got to set a deadline for the goals. When Tyler and I started this podcast, we finally set a start date. We put it like 3 weeks out. We were like, we got to start it by this day. And that's literally the only reason that we started it on that day, is because we set that goal. We could have been kept going, making sure everything is perfect, blah, blah, blah. We started this podcast with everything being imperfect, and it's still imperfect. Like, I wanted to fix the whole website up, make sure everything's working well on it. It'll get better with time. And we'll get feedback from, our fans that we have so far, and we'll just get better and better and better and be able to help more and more people, and that's how I look at it. So that's an example of starting imperfectly. So make sure you have a deadline for whatever goal it is. When you set a weight loss goal, have a deadline. Have short-term deadlines, have long-term deadlines. So if your long-term deadline is to lose 25 pounds, then set, like a realistic weight loss deadline. If you were doing everything right, like eating well, everything is like 2 pounds a week, usually. Even 1 pound a week would be awesome. But much more than 2 pounds a week long-term is typically not going to happen, unless you're just beyond busting ass and doing everything perfectly. And even then, 2 pounds a week is still awesome if you're doing that. It really just depends. But just make them realistic, Don't think you're going to lose 50 pounds by tomorrow or next week. It's like not going to happen, or even a month. So be realistic about it. Set deadlines. And, write all these down. Write all these goals down, because it helps to look at it. Like, I personally have a vision board in which I put, a few of my major goals on it. I put like an income-related goal. I put a music-related goal. I put the podcast-related goal. And getting to that, this is a mistake I made in the past too. I've had too many fucking goals going at once. You don't want that. That just makes it hard to focus on one and put your fullest effort into one. Like, for example, lately, my goal in my personal life, outside of the clients I work with, is to get this podcast up and running and going. The next goal is to get the next podcast up and running and going. Once those are kind of routine, and there's not a ton of extra work, I'm going to start doing more of my music again, comedy music. Tyler wants to do his too. And but it's too much right now with everything we're trying to do. At least in my case, to do a lot of music quite yet. The goal for that is actually to start when I have a break this December, and then to really keep publishing more songs as we go. So that's kind of what that means. In the past, I've tried to do way too much at once, like way too much. Like, especially when I was training for pro wrestling, I had way too many other things I wanted to do, and ultimately that's why I ended up giving up pro wrestling, because I just wanted to do something more along the lines of helping people. That was my main passion. As much as I love wrestling, it just ended up being not for me. As much as fun as I had training and taking the bumps and getting my ass kicked, it just wasn't for me. So I'm doing the podcast, and I'm doing personal training, I'm doing nutrition, I'm helping people instead. And I get my creativity out with the music and with the podcasts, and that's really my creative outlet, and wrestling was originally going to be that outlet. So you also want to set both long-term and short-term goals, as mentioned before. So your short-term goals, you should have some for, the best way to do it is have it for some for like a week, like really small ones, like what do you want to get done by the end of this week? And I mean, personally, I have some just about every day. I make a little list. I try not to make it too overwhelming, which is something I've commonly done in the past too. Don't stuff too much into one day. I usually put, a couple different major things that I want to get done before the end of the day in the spare time I have. I'll have a weekly goal of stuff I want to get done. I'll have a monthly goal, and of course I'll have the long-term, big picture yearly goals. Back to the vision board. If you have a vision board, a vision board is basically, you can make it, like mine's been a poster before. It's been like something I printed out on the computer on just a 11 by 11 size paper. You just hang it up on your wall. You see it every day. You see your goals every day. It keeps you focused on them. Right now, my goals kept changing, so I actually made it into a bulletin board, and I printed off some photos with like the title of the goal underneath, and I just I leave my goals up on my wall, on my bulletin board, and if one changes, then I just take one off and put another one on if I have another one, and that's about it. It works pretty well. You see your goals every day. The other biggest thing that's very important is you have to have a positive mindset about it. You have to believe in yourself. If you don't believe in yourself, you've already lost. You've already lost the battle with goal setting. So the first time you say, I can't do this, I can't do that, forget it. You're done. You're fucking done. You gotta be positive. Because honestly, we're capable of achieving anything that we want, but you need to set your mind to it, and you need to take the actions that coincide with what you're saying. So for instance, I know people that are just like, I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to accomplish this, and then they'll go home after work and sit in front of the TV or play video games or whatever. That doesn't fucking work.
You're not going to reach your goal by just saying that's what you want to do. You actually have to take the action in the moment, make the sacrifices you need to make to do it. Sure, video games are fun, watching TV is fun. You're going to be tired after work. You're going to be like, fuck, I don't want to do anything. I just want to sit here and masturbate and watch TV or some shit. And it's easier said than done, but that's the hardest part, is making yourself do things when you don't want to do them. That's how you're going to succeed. When you don't want to do something that's going to help your life, you do it, because that's what's going to make you successful. And eventually this will become habit. But I also know people that, if they don't feel like doing something, they're just not going to do it right there. It's not going to happen. It's not going to make you successful. So make sure your goals are sharp, clearly defined. Make sure you can track the progress. You will also gain more self-confidence as you go along, and you recognize your own ability and competence in achieving the goals that you've set. So to kind of review, you set your big picture goal first, step 1. Then you break these into smaller goals. So what smaller goals are going to take you to your big picture goal? And then you break them up into objectives. So what objectives are going to get you to these smaller goals? And I mean, these goals don't necessarily only have to do with money or career, etc. They can have to do with career, they can do with financial, education, what degree do you want, family, being a good parent. If you have artistic goals, like writing a new song, I have many songs that are half written right now and I need to finish them, but it hasn't been a priority for me lately, unfortunately, because I'm just doing so many other things. But trust me, it will come. It will come. And speaking of music, check out Talonized Music, soundcloud.com/MattMichaelComedyMusic, soundcloud.com/Pouchard. That's one of our passions aside from the podcast. Just for some final tips here, be precise when setting your goals, putting in dates, times, and amounts so you can measure achievement. If you do this, you'll know exactly when you have achieved the goals, and you can take complete satisfaction in having achieved it. It makes you feel good. It makes you want to set more. It keeps you motivated. State each goal as a positive statement. Express your goals positively. Have a positive emotional mindset when you're thinking about this. So it helps you execute them well, and it helps prevent stupid mistakes. Set priorities. This is exactly what I've done. When you have several goals, give each a priority. This helps you to avoid feeling overwhelmed by having too many goals. I'm like the epitome of that. I'm very goal-oriented and very motivated individual. And I think that's why I stay so motivated, because I set so many goals, so it's like I'm never bored. I'm never fucking bored. I can't remember the last time I was bored unless I was forced in a situation where I had to be bored, like sitting in a doctor's office waiting for an appointment or something like that. If I'm at home and I have the ability to work on my goals, there's no reason to be bored. If you're ever bored in life, you gotta find more hobbies. Seriously, it's just like you have one life to live. Why are you wasting it being bored when there's so many things that you could do? You just gotta figure it out. Figure out what's your passion and just do it. Write goals down. The vision board is how I write my goals down. I also write them in my phone. I keep track of them in my phone. Wunderlist is a cool app. It helps you. You can put a bunch of lists in there. Tyler and I are all about lists and check off lists. But you can also honestly outline your major goal in there and then put objectives and that kind of stuff. So what's the best way to get started on this goal setting and action process? Here's the way I would do it. Set your long-term goal. Set a 5-year goal. Where do you want to be in 5 years? If your goal is going to take less than that, then just adjust it however you would. Then I would think of the first step to take that will start getting you to your goals, and I would take that step before you plan anything else. I would just take the action and just do it. And then you're probably going to want to set a 1-year goal, a 6-month goal, a 1-month goal, and a 1-week goal. The 1-week goals are going to be basic things. But the most important thing is take lots of imperfect action. The more action you take, when you make the decision to take the action, instead of doing something irrelevant and unimportant like going home and playing with yourself, the faster you will get to your goal and actually follow up on what you say you're going to do. Because that's the hard part, following up. But that's also the most important part. So, when you go home from work today, you're going to know what goal you have. You're going to know the first step you need to take to do it. And instead of going home and messing around with random shit that doesn't matter, you're going to take that first step. You're going to take that action. So I'm going to leave you with a few key points. Decide what you want to achieve in your life. Separate what's important from what's irrelevant or a distraction. Motivate yourself. Find ways to keep yourself motivated. Everybody's different. The motivation has to come from within you. And build your self-confidence based on successful achievement of goals. And lastly, don't let anybody ever tell you that you can't do something. Because you can. You have your life in your control, and it's completely up to you what you want to do and what you want to achieve. So go out there, take the action, and do it. We'll see you next week on the podcast. We're probably going to do a Q&A, so it could end up being a ton of different topics. We know today this week's format was a little bit different. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. If you have any questions on things we didn't cover, please let us know. We wish you the best of luck in achieving your goals. And if you have anything else you want us to talk about, please email away, healthhumanlife@gmail.com. So check out the website, get the free ebooks on there. Based on health right now, we will have the goal setting one up. So if you go and sign up now, you'll get the health one right away, but we'll send you the goal setting one as well as soon as we get it up there. And we thank you for listening. And then we'll see you next week. So we'll be back together and ready to fucking give you another dose of Health Human-like greatness each and every week.
If you enjoyed this podcast or any of our other podcasts, do us a favor and leave us a positive 5-star review on iTunes. Helps us move up the charts and help and entertain more people. See you next time, guys.